Have you ever been deep into a video game and then somebody watches you play and they're like, why aren't you double jumping? And then you're like, wait, there's been double jumping this whole time? Well, BattleBit is kind of that game, where every few hours you make some sort of head-slapping discovery that greatly expands your capabilities. Despite its simplistic visuals, this game has a lot of nuance and mechanics that are not well communicated, so it can take a while to understand everything that you really need to know. Today, I'm going to tell you all the things I wish I knew about BattleBit before I started playing. But before that, it's summertime and game sales are going absolutely bananas. I can't make enough time in my schedule to play all the games that I want to, let alone cook nice meals for myself or the family. The good news is today's sponsor Factor makes delicious, healthy conscious meals and delivers them fresh, never frozen, right to your door. It is so nice coming home tired and hungry to a chef-prepared meal that only takes minutes to get on the table. All you gotta do is take Factor's meals out of the fridge, pop them into the microwave, and they're ready to serve in 2 minutes. They're always delicious, well portioned, and you never have to worry about getting the right ingredients to cook or even cleaning up. Factor has over 34 weekly options to choose from that are all healthy and packed with flavor. They even cover a wide range of dietary needs like keto, vegetarian, calorie smart, and more. So try Factor today. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code LEVELCAP50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. That's factor75.com or click the link below and use code LEVELCAP50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Let's start off with the controls, as you may not be using them to their full extent, like one of the most basic functions in the game, reviving. By default, holding the 3 button on the keyboard lets you bandage, but you can actually bandage people while dragging them at the same time, which is pretty hard to do while holding the 3 key. I rarely see people revive me as I'm being dragged, which means that they probably don't know that you can do this, or they just can't reach the 3 key while also moving. You should really bind bandage to something that you can use while moving around. I have it set to one of my mouse thumb buttons, and it helps reduce the delay when I need to bandage quickly, and it also lets me sprint away while I'm doing it as well. Now, holding the P key allows you to consolidate your magazines, which is super useful. This key, however, is so far away that I never really used the feature, so I ended up binding it to something far more accessible. I find it really helpful to have this bound to something that I can use while also moving, as I tend to consolidate my mags while moving between objectives. It's kind of the perfect time when you're not in the middle of a firefight. Now, tapping R lets you reload, but holding R lets you do a fast reload where you drop your mag on the ground and slap a new one in quick. This feature is very easy to overlook, and since the game has such slow reload times, it can be extremely useful. However, if you survive an encounter after a fast reload, you'll need to find your discarded mag or just run with one less magazine for this life. Holding middle mouse button or pressing the O key opens the build menu to make walls and barricades. If you bind O to a more accessible key or just get used to holding middle mouse button, you can build cover extremely fast, kind of Fortnite style, while you're in combat. This can actually be really useful when you get caught out in the open and need to revive somebody or just create a makeshift shooting location instantly. Holding Alt and scroll wheel lets you adjust the range on your scope. This is extremely useful for consistently landing shots on long-range targets, and you can even combine it with a sniper rifle's rangefinder attachment to get extremely precise. In most other games, I don't really bother with the range-finding mechanics since there's usually just one target that I have to deal with, but BattleBit has so many long-range opportunities, it can really pay off to get used to using this. The caps lock button cuts a rope, and while it does say this in game, it can be pretty easy to overlook, and also it's extremely useful if you don't want enemies following up behind you. Sometimes a rope can kind of telegraph your position, and I often climb up ones, especially ones that I think an enemy has placed. Tapping middle mouse button pings locations and targets, but it also 3D spots vehicles, and those spots are extremely powerful, so make sure to do this. Engineers will blow them up for you. Also, I like to adjust the icon size of my pings. They're super small by default depending on your resolution. In fact, a lot of the UI stuff isn't set up in a way that makes it particularly easy to read. I also adjusted the flag opacity for non-marked flags so that I can find them better, and you can also adjust the crosshair color. Since it's a tiny white dot, it can be pretty easy to lose during the mayhem. Now, while you're in a gunner seat that operates with a camera, the scroll wheel zooms in. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know you could do this until I was a much higher rank. Since right click is zooming in the non-gunner seats, I just assumed you couldn't zoom in from a camera seat until I saw footage of somebody doing this. And doing this can make Jeeps with guns extremely useful, and you can honestly cheese quite a lot of kills by using them as mobile turrets. Okay, let's get into some of the lesser advertised game mechanics that are not control related. Armor is a thing. Most people figure this out pretty quick, but how it works is not particularly clear. Those blue hit markers mean that you're hitting somebody's armor, and you've probably felt powerless at times against the support class's exosuit armor options, as they can add quite a bit of extra health. That armor can literally tank bolt action headshots. When you go in to customize your character, the durability stat that you see is basically bonus health to your base 100 HP, though there may be some hidden properties beyond this. Now, you can swap armor around on your classes, and it changes a lot of stuff. Some of the benefits of different armor allow for things like faster movement, faster aiming down sight time, more gadgets, more grenades, more magazines, and of course, increased starting health pool in the form of armor. Also, I believe the debuffs on this stuff will stack, which is not particularly well communicated in the menu. So if you have multiple pieces of armor applying slower run or slower aiming speeds, that will stack. Now, your armor is gone after it takes full damage. So if a medic heals you after you take damage, it'll only heal up to your base health. It's worth playing around with the different armor options and seeing what you like. Some classes can start to feel quite nimble with the right setup. Unfortunately, there aren't saved loadouts in this game, so you kind of have to do all of this manually each time you want to experiment. Now, most BattleBit weapons get really powerful attachments that can massively improve their performance. Extended mags can help assault rifles, SMGs, and some LMGs compete much better, and bolt action rifles can be upgraded with auto bolts, where you don't have to manually rechamber around each time you shoot. Check out each weapon's unlock progression and set some goals for your weapons. Don't be afraid to use the server browser versus the quick match feature. Try the other modes and server sizes. BattleBit plays very differently depending on the mode, and playing something like Frontlines can take the action to 11 if that's what you like. It can also be a nice way to avoid vehicles. Now, the weapon selection for classes isn't always super clear. Make sure that you scroll down to see all of the available weapons for each class, as Engineer can run stuff like DMRs, which can really change up their playstyle. Say you die and you're looking for a good spawn option, but your whole squad is dead. What do? Well, it's actually pretty fast to squad hop to another squad and get back into the action quickly. This can be nice when playing solo and you want to maximize your time in the battle, and you can often switch back to your original squad if you enjoyed playing with them more. As a medic, you spawn in with a ton of bandages, and you can actually throw them out on the ground for your squad mates to pick up. If you're playing with friends and somebody runs out, make sure to top them off. Long-range optics have a glint when aiming down sight. Medium ranges do not have that glint, nor do canted sights even if you have a long-range optic mounted. It doesn't always make sense to give away your position with a sniper glint, and I'm seeing more and more snipers using medium-range optics. Blowing up enemy vehicles is worth a lot of points, 1,800 for pretty much every vehicle, even an ATV. Sometimes it's worth finishing off a vehicle even if bad guys aren't in it, just for the massive point dump. Headshots reward you with so many bonus points. A kill is worth 200 measly points, and a headshot is worth 400 additional bonus points. Basically, getting a kill with a headshot is worth 3 times a basic kill. I'm not really sure why the scoring is like this, but basically aim for the head whenever possible. This definitely helps snipers stay more relevant on the scoreboard, and also you can change the color of your headshot hit marker to, say, yellow to really help you understand when you're hitting the head with automatic weapons. There's actually a surprising amount of skill to moving around the map in BattleBit. You can vault through surprisingly small windows. Do this as much as possible. You can actually move around city maps incredibly fast if you know all your entry and exit points. You can also often blow open walls and build barricades to stand on things to get to certain ledges. So keep this in mind. Sometimes you can make a new flanking route. Transportation bonuses are crazy powerful. You get these from being the driver in a vehicle and ferrying other players into combat. This makes flying a transport helicopter or even a transport vehicle extremely viable to stay in the points. Check out my scoring guide for more details on how this works to maximize your points. But the most basic tip here is that if you have the opportunity to get a transport at the start of a round and can carry players to the objective, do it. You will get massive transportation bonuses, especially when flag capping. Proximity chat is one of the most useful features in the game. It's great to alert squad mates that you might need a revive or some ammo, or that you can repair a vehicle. The problem is that the enemy team can also hear this, so it can give away your position. Just be careful when you use it. He's flanking you, buddy. Turn around. He's right next to you. He's peeking.
No way.
But you can also resupply and repair any vehicle back at your main headquarters. This is very useful for transport helicopters and tanks. It's not always clear, but vehicle heads-up displays are actually functional. And if you look at the sometimes dim text, you can read round type, round ready, and rounds left. This helps a lot in APCs and tanks for knowing when your reload is happening, since there aren't a lot of sound cues. Opening your map will show you all of your teammates and capture points around the battlefield, but it's not always clear what the colors and markers mean. When a teammate goes from blue to dark green on the map, it means that they're in combat. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're being shot at, but it can also mean that an enemy is close by. Once you know this, a quick glance at the map can show you where your teammates are most in combat, and also where they're getting killed with those X marks for dead players. Now, there's a ton of gameplay tips and tricks beyond this that can help you get better beyond just this guide. But I wanted to create this video to make sure that you're not overlooking just some of the basic tools in the game that are simply not well communicated or taught within the game. There's a lot of things that I'm still learning many hours into this game, so hopefully this helps improve the learning curve for everyone else. Let me know in the comments if there's any other tools or things that helped you a lot once you understood them better. Next up, check out my BattleBit XP guide that'll show exactly how BattleBit's scoring system works. It might actually surprise you how unconventional it is at times. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.